We do not know why we are here, but we know we are. Apple TV has the best shows on streaming. If you disagree, come fight me. And if you doubt me, then you clearly haven't seen Severance, or Ted Lasso, or Foundation, or even Dark Matter. Fine, I'll admit I haven't finished them all, but the few hours I've spent with each has given me a few philosophical lines to ponder. In fact, I have references to Foundation in my book, This Glorious Dance, Thoughts and Contemplations About Who We Are. Of all the best shows, Silo sits at the top, or at least at the best or top. Permit the grammar, I promise it's in service of a point. The show lingers in my mind because it doesn't just settle for entertainment in its plot, in its scenery, and the content of dialogue. There are points that I chew on, bringing them to matters of direct experience. One scene in particular comes to mind more frequently than not. Mayor Jans stands before the people stuck in this silo while delivering a speech that feels half like a ritual and half like a death sentence. For context, the silo is a world within walls, a vast underground structure where generations have lived, never seeing the sky, never touching the surface. To them, the outside is death, the inside is survival. Rules govern every aspect of their lives: what they eat, what they fix, who they trust, etc. No one remembers who built it or why. The stories of its origin are lost while life goes on within its limits. So in the plot, Juliet Nichols is about to be expelled from the safety of the silo, and so Mayor Jans gives an address, and the words land heavy. We do not know why we are here. We do not know who built the silo. We do not know why everything outside the silo is as it is. We do not know when it will be safe to go outside. We only know that day that day is not this day. Four we do not know this in a row. In this opening, it just felt like a mirror held up to the human condition. Replace silo with universe, and suddenly the whole script reads like something philosophers, theologians, and drunk college students have been muttering for centuries. But we do not know why we are here. And for all the theories, scriptures, and TED Talks, no one can give a final answer that satisfies for long. For the religious folks from most traditions, you hear something like, God put us here so we can worship Him, or this is a test, or some New Agers would say, this is the dimension where we are placed to learn all the lessons we could encounter so we can grow. We keep circling the question as though one more lap around the track might reveal a finish line that finally gives us an answer. But like every conversation around meaning, origin, and destination, you just have to sit really closely with these ideas for you to see they are only seeking resolution in the mind. One closer examination, you would find that ultimate meaning does not exist outside of the mind. The origin of life or a final destination is something that mind needs resolution for and fills it in with stories. Well, truth is, the mind is designed for these types of solutions. Friends, not knowing is not failure. It's the only honest ground we stand on. The moment we try to dress it up with certainty, we slip into story making. And stories, no matter how comforting, eventually collapse under the weight of life's unpredictability. We truly don't know why we are here. Any conclusions is a bloody story. Stories always end. Thankfully, they end in ever afters. Even the question of any us being here is a kind of illusion, also. You can sit with this statement in the wide open space of contemplation and see through even the illusion of time and space for this to sink in. But why does this even matter? How does this, how does knowing this apply to my life? When we remove all the stories of the why are we here, about the what we are here for, or the how we are here, one thing is left: the plain fact of being. Before the why, before the how, before the what next, there's simply the raw immediacy of existence. I am, you are, that's it. And oddly enough, that is enough. You see, this I amness is stubborn. It doesn't flinch when the mind panics about purpose. It doesn't vanish when the body aches or the world crumbles. It doesn't go anywhere when you fall asleep and the awareness of a world fades into blackness. It stays put like a silent witness to every rise and fall, every back and forth. And in recognizing this, when we truly recognize this, a relaxation occurs. Oh my gosh, is this what salvation is? You see, the urge to pin everything down gives way to the relief of knowing there's nothing to pin. We do not know why we are here, but we do know we are. And in that recognition, the ground beneath our feet feels steadier than any explanation ever could. That's what matters. That's the most important recognition. We are. Oh, before Abraham was, I am. If some of this still feels fuzzy, here's a short contemplative exercise to explore this space of knowing. Meditation on I am. Sit comfortably wherever you can find space to do this for about 10 to 15 minutes. Let the body rest without trying to arrange it perfectly. You may find there's no perfect space to arrange your body. Just comfortable may work. Now allow your breath to flow in its own rhythm as you notice its space for about, say, 5 minutes. Now bring to mind the questions. Why am I here? Where did all of this come from? Where is it going? Feel the weight of not knowing. If you already had an answer, where did the answer come from? How do you know it's true? And if you don't have an answer, notice how the mind wants to reach for an answer. Let it reach and let it fall back empty. Stay with the mystery. Now, without answering, notice one thing that is undeniable. You are. Say quietly inside, I am. Not I am this or I am that. Just leave out the labels, the roles, and the stories. Rest in the bare sense of being. Each time the mind wanders back into the unknowns, the why, how, when, gently return to the simple fact, I am. Let it be like a soft anchor, grounding you without effort. Notice that this sense of I am is not threatened by uncertainty. It remains even as thoughts rise and fall, even as questions appear and dissolve. Rest in this steadiness. After a few minutes, open your eyes or lift your gaze. Carry with you this felt sense that whilst much is unknown, this presence of being is already enough. And this is something that I practice quite often when the mind starts to go into stories and circumstances that feel more real than the steady ground of being. I hope this was helpful for someone.